Wow, that was quick. Got one person at least. Yeah, sorry I haven't been up. Sorry I haven't been streaming this morning. I just need to get another couple extra hours of sleep. Just making coffee and getting ready. But good morning. I hope that you're having a blessed morning so far, and that you've overcome maybe some sins that you've been following or committing, and I hope God pays you back for that, just like He did me. Love you guys. Yeah, I'd say God is the only reason why I can make it out of bed every morning. Um, my back, my back hurts every morning. It's like hard to get out of bed, but at least I do. And at least I didn't. At least I didn't lose my leg. At least I didn't lose my back. Let me tell you this story. So I wasn't being too bad, and basically, I decided that I was stronger than like just human existence. I was like greater than human. And the reason why was because I saw so many things. God was leading me towards answers and truth. But He also taught me that lesson and put me through hell for, I'd say a full year, maybe less than that. And I was stuck in a bed for 8 months after I got bit by a spider. In order to get out of that bed, I needed to read the Bible. I think I grabbed a Bible from somewhere, and then I started listening to the Bible. And there was certain things that I heard in the Bible that were like, you need to, be stronger, and stuff. I don't know. Those things that I had read at that time. This was like 5, 6 years ago, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm doing it wrong. And I woke up one day and I was just like, I'm gonna go try running. So I went and I tried running, and for some reason it just like pushed my skin. It hurt at first really bad, and then I like overcame it, and I was like, I felt this pain before. I don't need to think about it, and I just kept like running and pushing. And when I came back to lay down for a minute, I was like, that felt good. And I started listening to the Bible again, and I heard a thing, and it was just like a repeat from there. I just kept getting more inspiration by like the knowledge that I was gaining from it, and it lined up with a lot of the knowledge that I had already seen and I'd already known. Before, I felt Like if I hadn't figured it out myself, then it wasn't worth anything. So I was just refuting the book, and I was like, God's speaking directly to me, and therefore, I'm God. But I read the book, and I'm like, okay, that actually makes way more sense because we need education in our lives. So the real goal that should be like everyone here, everyone there, is to be educated and to learn, be aware of what's really going on. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what kind of walk of life you are, just get educated and understand what's really going on around you, because God's trying to show you something. If you stay blind, then you get attacked by evil and you have no idea. The fleas stay on you. You can't see fleas, but you got to know that they're there so you can at least, use some alcohol or something and, wipe it down and get rid of them. There might be fleas attached to you right now. I might check out the Book of Mormon. I might delve into other things, but right now I'm just happy to be alive, and um my brain's actually like calming down. I just got food. I just got coffee. Like I drinking my own coffee right now, my own milk. Um I'm usually drinking my own milk, but um I actually was able to get a breakfast sandwich this morning, and thanks to John, thanks to God as well. Thank you, uh, thank you for also my audience. You need both. God is food. God will feed you. God will feed you the knowledge to go get fed. If I hadn't considered using an e-bike to go and do the job that I was already doing, then I would be broke. You know, I had to use the knowledge that I had to go and build a bike, customize it. But that's where I'm at right now. Is I might be able to start working on another one, on another project that'll get me plenty of money. But that project I can't tell anybody about because somebody else will steal my idea and they'll be a great Rothschild and I'm gonna be that instead. Like the thing that I'm working on that I can't talk to anybody about is like it's survival proofing. Making sure that I can survive what's to come. I still haven't got the tools yet. The tools are going to cost me $6. And I know everybody wants to know what I'm working on, but you're going to find out like only if you're in my town locally and like do business with me physically. That's another hint. If you want to know what's going to protect you in the future, I'll give you a better hint. Look at this bag. Make a few of these and you might follow like my like plan. You might just automatically do it. You might automatically figure it out on your own. Yes, everybody who figures out how to run the supply chain and be part of the supply chain and not rely on electricity will be able to survive. You need to be able to run into the mountains, into the woods with nothing and be able to survive. Promise. If you can do that, you can live off the land, you're going to survive this. Yeah, it sounds silly, just little bags, but this is gonna save my life, and it can save yours too. Try to make them. It's not hard. What's in here? I wonder what I put in here. What is that? I don't even know what's inside here. Huh. What is that? That's part of the design. And I forget how I designed this specific bag. But here's the challenge that I'm up against is I want to design a bag that closes and it guarantees, like it seals and it guarantees when you send it on its way to go to its delivery, it cannot be broken. So it needs to have a seal. That's not part of the plan. That's completely different. That's, what I'm trying to design. Welcome everyone. Welcome all the viewers. Subscribers only mode, 1 minute long. You have to be subscribed for 1 minute at least. Just in case, because I got like a bunch of people in here and trolls jumping in when I'm trying to respond. I'll read. It's not hard. Dude, it is hard for many people. It's very hard for people to actually rely. Yeah, I just need $6 so that I get these tools, but I need to actually go to the store to be able to get them. Like I have to find the store that has them, and I can't tell anybody what these tools are. It's going to be like $6 for it. Very, very cheap. Imagine that. And the reason why I know that is because I have to go to Harbor Freight, and then I got to go to like Hobby Lobby. So there's 2 places that I got to go, and there's specific tools that I need to get. But only $6 is going to make this project happen. And I think I can make that happen over the next week because, I've been given some help and I appreciate it very much. It's gotten me closer to the goal that I'm trying to accomplish here. Now I got to put this thing back on the charger so I can actually make that happen. Yeah, $6 would get this completed. Where I just have, it's 3 tools that I need. Well, three different types of tools. One of these tools I need to get like multiple of them, but it's going to be like what, 50 cents a piece. One of them's $2 or $3, and then another one of them, what was it? $1.50. I forget what it said, but I like looked it up and I figured out how much I need. I'm just like, oh my god, the fact that it's so cheap, but it's also like something that falls in line with what I've already been building. But this is the most important part. If you guys make bags out of leather, like you just get scrap leather, that's something else that I need is scrap leather. That's something that I can, I already have like enough to at least get started with. If you guys try to make bags, I appreciate that in a huge way. I'm going to make sure that I actually get these tools within the next day then, because that means I can actually get them in the next day. And, but I suggest everybody here grab some leather, go and make some bags, learn how it works. I'll show you an easy way to make a bag. This is easy to do. Once I find that one piece of leather right here. Teach you guys how. It's going to be very easy to do. So take it, put it inside out, fold it once, and then go through the whole edge right here, put holes all the way around the edge, and then leave just that hole in the middle. Don't sew the middle. Sew it as is, as it's folded, and then pull it through and turn it inside out. Very easy. Once you've done that, then you have one of these. And from there, you'll be sitting staring at this bag. You'll be like, oh, I can do something with this. But there's a problem. There's a hole up here, and things will just dump out. So that's the next step that I have to figure out. I want to design a bag that has a perfectly closed top where it's sealed, and you can guarantee that it goes to the individual that you're trying to send it to and doesn't get unsealed until it reaches that individual. I've thought about using like the wax seals, but that's just too expensive. I don't have wax. Question: SIGs but no food. Stop. What is it? Stop saying MAGA because we are about free speech while you block every comment you don't like. That's liberal, not MAGA. Not quite. All right. You have moderation policies, first of all, everywhere. So the thing is, what you're saying is like you're just one of these agitators. Make America Great Again is about pulling down regulations. What happens on my channel, I can moderate it. If you have a bunch of spam and you have a bunch of claims against someone or any of that, I have every right to pull that down. Okay? You clipping me and posting me somewhere else, I have no control over that. You see what I mean? Like that's up to you. If you want to clip me and throw me in other places, that's on you. So I suggest getting all of the tools to do leather work. I think that's very useful. What I did was I just put it on subscribers only mode, and this person's saying all of that. You block anyone that says anything you don't like. Exactly. No, I don't. I'm blocking you because you're just an agitator. Goodbye. Well, people need to wake up to the truth, but they also need to understand that people have their boundaries. And if you're going to spam the chat with hate and things, it's like it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter. There's many MAGA commentators that will take people off of their channel if they're just spamming the chat. It doesn't matter what they're saying. If they're spamming the chat, then they'll take them off. If they say something that they don't like, they'll take them off. I've been removed from channels for the same reason. What are you talking about? MAGA is something else. Well, then go around to all the big guys and tell them that. They'll probably ignore you. I've been trying to spread a word for the last 10 years. I've been supporting Trump since 2014. I voted for him twice. I removed you just because you're being an asshole. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're being an asshole to somebody, they have every right to just, goodbye. And that's what happens. Doesn't matter if you're MAGA, liberal, anything in between. No, a libtard is going to say, hey, we want the government to silence you. That's the thing. Freedom of speech applies to the government. The government is not allowed to step in and silence you. If a platform decides to silence you, that's up to them because they're a company. You see the difference? I'm not advocating for silencing free speech, but you're allowed to say whatever you'd like to say about me in a different place. That's totally legal. That's totally, you can go ahead and do that. If I don't want to interact with that channel because you're talking shit about me, that's also my prerogative. That's what I can do. So it is what it is. You got to stop hating. You got to stop attacking people. Bring a real conversation to the table. I've said a million times, hey guys, let's, give me some ideas, stuff that I can research, stuff that I can, touch up on. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not even looking for positive comments. I'm looking for just real conversation. I appreciate the positive conversation, positive comments as well. But that's not really what this is about either. It's about let's spread the word, get people at least looking into the Bible and look at what are their rights. Your rights are not, hey, I can go spout, nastiness to people and they shouldn't, they can't actually, take my comment down or anything. That's not free speech. Free speech is that the government is not allowed to stop you from speaking. A few years ago, I really got to looking at the people that called themselves friend, and they actually didn't perform actions that helped me. Needless to say, those people aren't in my circle anymore. Exactly. Exactly. That's specifically how it is. You know, you have to actually control who's around you. If you have negative energy, you know, it doesn't matter what political side you're on. It's if you don't want them around you, you don't want them around you. You know, there's reasons why certain people go to certain types of parties. You know, if you're not a drinker, you don't go to the party where everybody's drinking generally. And you shouldn't have to deal with people that are drinking at your party if you're not a party that's, you know, allowing drinking. That's just how it is. No, I was talking about the other dude that was saying nasty shit. I don't care. You said, "Oh, unsub now, pussy." I don't really care. You didn't spam the chat. You know what I mean? You're not trying to be an agitator. You just said something, one thing. It's not. I'm not gonna get upset about that. That's just. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna get upset if you're just speaking your mind. I get it. If you want to say, "Oh, you're a femboy," whatever, I don't care. But if you're gonna sit there and say, "Oh, you're not MAGA because you took my comment down or you took somebody's comment down because they were harassing or just being spammy," like goodbye. You don't need to be here. I'm sorry. I don't want to ban people. Let's bring some real conversation to the table. If you're part of MAGA, let's really start talking about the true issues that are going on. That's what we need. You know, SIGs but no food. No, I got both now, thankfully. And pray to God, thank you God, and thank you good people that actually understand that I'm here not to beg for money. I'm here to have a conversation. I was trying to agree my comments was removed. No, you weren't. No, your comments haven't been removed. Where'd your comments get removed? I know it's not hard. All we have is mountains and hills. No, that was a different person. That wasn't your comment. I didn't remove your comments. The UK doesn't really have much free speech over there. That's kind of where we walked away from. Christians kind of stepped away from the UK. You had the big church trying to tell everybody what to do, and yeah, we decided to come over here. And imagine that we came over here. Oh no, you don't have mountains. Well, if you're living in a city, then there's no chance. You need to be able to get out of there. And now you're losing it all. Yeah, Spain is in serious trouble. 60,000 migrants. But what they said was that most of them left, went back to their country, but 57 people died. I'm pretty sure that they were citizens of Spain. Yeah, unfortunately, companies buy into government's BS and promote the employees into anti-agendas. Yeah. Yeah. We have a serious problem where the governments are pushing for the stifling of free speech, pushing for the silencing of people. You're not in a city? Are you in a desert? Are you in the water? Oh no. You have lots of mountains to run to, so we are okay. Well, you also have CERN. Here's a subject to bring up that I looked into just recently because it popped up in my feed. The Mandela effect and CERN. So apparently they shut off CERN recently. And people are saying that it feels like the Earth slowed down, like time slowed down. And that Mandela effects are reversing. And what is it? Chick-fil-A was, they removed the K and now they got the K back after CERN was shut down. But I do want to talk about Spain, mostly, because that needs to wake people up. That should wake up every woman, child, and male that's out there to know that exactly what Trump said. That's what's going to happen to us if we elect another fucking liberal as a president. And now here's the thing is that people might consider me to be liberal, but no, I am non-party affiliate. I don't believe in either side. And that's kind of because it's if you logically look at the situation, there's a lot of conservatives that actually don't stand for free speech. Instead, they're standing for like uh, what is it? Agitating, you know. Like Salty Cracker, I'll give you an example. He's really logical. He's really truthful and logical, really to the point, but he goes a step too far. And I do respect the dude, but he goes a step just too far where he's agreeing with violence. He's so used to the nasty content on X that he's like, yeah, it's cool that this person ran into a pole and they hurt themselves because they had an opinion I didn't agree with. What? Come on, guy. That's a little too far. And that's where a lot of these conservative commentators end up really losing me. So that's not free speech to cheer on somebody getting harmed. Free speech is seeing an issue and just speaking truth on the situation. Oh yeah, this person got instant karma. That's a little different than I love seeing this happen to this person. Like that's like, whoa, guy. We're not trying to sow chaos. We're not trying to agitate things. We're trying to see things through and explain the truth. This is why this happened. I'll give you an example with my dad. He's like, you see that person stuck on this, on the side of the road there, and he's curled up into a ball, and he's, that person is on drugs, son. And that's what got him into that situation. And he's likely still on drugs. Don't do drugs. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I'm not gonna do, you know what I mean? That's truth. Agitation is saying, yeah, you see that person on the side of the road, yeah, he deserved that because he's a piece of shit. And why else? Because he does drugs too. Like something like that. That's a nasty way to to pass on truth. Truth is just seeing the issue as it is. It's not cheering on hate. You keep telling young kids to cheer on hate, to cheer on, devastation. Like, no wonder you got a bunch of agitators around. So, you got to be humane. Somebody said we list humanity like, it's everyone is living eye for an eye and it's getting bad. Yeah, and it's nasty, dude. It's crazy because, they're attacking people that ain't even part of the issue. I'll give you an example. So there's people on the crypto space, they're literally just copying what a lot of the big guys did to get their money. And they're just scamming people outright. I'll give you two examples. Where is Lodo 01 and Lodo? There's a yellow checkmark account on Pump Fun, and it says Lodo. And then you got Where is Lodo, and both of them are promoting these scam coins, but they saw the big dogs seeing the problem, like causing these problems, and they're like, oh, I'm going to do it too. But they're not attacking the big guys. They're attacking the little guys. They're doing eye for an eye, but they're attacking the wrong guy. Everyone feels like they have to be first. Yeah. And well, I was first. Here's the thing is that I was first. I got old podcasts where I talked about this stuff. Old. Talking 10 years ago before everyone else started doing it. I wasn't looking for clout. I wasn't looking for that clout ninja. When I have that name, it's like the clout that I have, it's like hidden. It's shadows. I'm in the shadows and nobody can see what I've actually done. That's how I spread the word. I spoke to up to 16,000 or 17,000 people, one-on-one conversations online before and after I started my channel. Like talking about this stuff. I've talked to everybody around the planet. I heard opinions from everyone around the world. There's people from every single country that know how to speak English and they look for American people to speak to. I spoke to Chinese people that are using, like, they're breaking through a firewall to speak to Americans. And you know what? Even those people that are seeking to go have a conversation with an American, they call us American dogs. That's what they call us. And they'd say it right to our face. There's a lot of stuff that I've seen, and it's because I went out there and I did the heavy lifting and the hard work and the ground, the boots on the ground. But I didn't get any clout for it. And I wasn't looking for clout. I was looking to get an answer. That's what I wanted. I was like, and once I get this answer, I'm going to bring it to the world as soon as I can. Well, I found that there was an answer above all these little answers. That, just read the Bible. God, God isn't the answer to every single one of your issues, but if you have God with you, then you can answer a lot of these things a lot easier. Why dogs, not cats? Because dogs are obedient. Basically, we're just listening to the government. We're bowing down, but it's like that's what they're doing. So that's what I would tell them. I'm like, but that's literally what you're doing, sir. You want to sit there and blah 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 to me, and then they're saying like gay stuff to me, and then they start touching each other. Like, what the hell, man? Like, it's weird. But yeah, I'm just waking up. These are like, morning time, waking up. I was up at like 4:30 or so. I was gonna do a stream, but I was just too tired, so I went to sleep. Yeah, because we aren't pussies. Well, here's the thing: is that like they want to say the same thing that they're doing to us as projection, and most of you didn't even know that they call us dogs. Most of you had no idea, and that's how uninfluential the Chinese people are. They like to do gay stuff over there. So you have like China is like split between two sides. You have one side's the obedient communist run, they have to listen to the government on everything that they do. They jaywalk, it goes against their social credit score, all that stuff. And then you got the other side of China, which is like unruly. And that's the side of China that has communication with America. That's probably likely the side of China that launders money through the drug cartels. So, but eye for an eye. Let's go back and let me touch up on some subjects that I skipped past, basically. The UK, Spain. So, what they're dealing with right now is, well, I'm not even a young man. Like, I probably look young, but I mean, you can see I got stretch marks and stuff on my face. Like, I'm a little bit older than you probably think or might think. The UK has been inundated by the Eastern Persian invading force for quite a while. You had Muslims going in there and they're like taking over seats, very important seats. It's China's game now, and we are dogs now. We're not. China, like, basically, yeah, they're gonna keep their technology, but they're slaves to that technology. They think that they're getting away with pushing for an invasive force into our country. They're not getting away with it because you guys now see, if you didn't see already, that China is a threat to your country. Trump's been calling it out this whole time. Just because you hate Trump, if you hate Trump, many of you probably don't even hate Trump. Listen to what he said. China is one of the greatest threats to the Western world. They're trying to take over the entire supply chain, and they're trying to make American people lazy so that they can take over and they can have that business. The fact that, if you didn't know how to make one of these, just a simple little leather bag, they're capitalizing on it. They're selling this fucking bag for $5. I could sell this for 50 cents and I would still make a profit. They could sell it for 50 cents and still make a profit. But no, they're still selling it for $5. You can win. We can win this war. This is a supply chain war. That's why that's half the reason, 50% of the reason why Trump got involved with the Strait of Hormuz. 1000% God in your thoughts will give us direction about our challenges. Yes. Chinese takes everyone's intellectual property. And now that's where like we split from this whole disliking the Eastern world to realizing which countries understand the actual threat. India, yeah, they've taken over our call centers. Yeah, they've taken over a lot of the businesses, a lot of the convenience stores and stuff here. But in their country, they hate China. There's a strong reason why they hate China is because China is taking intellectual property. They see China as a threat. So that's why I have advocated for an Indian relationship where we actually have some kind of relationship with India. I speak to people from India directly in chats. I have more direct conversation with Indian people than I do Americans. Why? Because they see things the same way that we do. That's why they're here, is because they don't want to be around China. Okay? Don't look at India as such a threat. China is trying to make you think that India is a massive threat. Yes, many of them are. Yes, many of them took over our businesses, but we could have taken over those businesses just as well. We just decided not to because we were lazy. So it is what it is. You know, the real threat is China. The real threat is like Iran and even Africa. I haven't talked much about Africa, but you have an invasive force of Africans. And you can see what happened with Morocco in Spain. They came over and they took over. They started invading. They were up on 3-story high buildings, breaking through the fucking window. That's insane. That's insane. That's what they are. They're freaking monkeys at this point. You know, you look at African Americans, people that have been here, generationally been here. That's a lot different than a person, native African person, coming over here and wanting to invade and wanting to rape and steal and do all these things, you know? So look at the difference between there's, you know, a Black American, brown American, Asian American. There's a difference between that and somebody who has been here generationally or actually respects our culture, and that is freedom, capitalism. So, and that's what India did. They did capitalism over here. They were like, hey, we can go over there, we can run capitalism. And so they did pretty well here. So the invasion, yeah, UK is 49% Muslim. What? I haven't seen the numbers yet, but that's insane, dude. Holy crap. Yeah, they're taking over. And we need to do something about it. We need to do something about it. China is laughing at us as we implode into irrelevance. As we were fighting the war on terror, China was engaging with the world, and they have control of all strategic minerals now. But it doesn't matter as long as we don't rely on those minerals. We don't need these phones. We don't need this technology. They're relying on the fact that we rely on that technology. If we didn't need those minerals, then they would have no control. You know what I mean? All we need is a strong military and young fighting people. One elephant in the room is our women are unruly. If you want my opinion, we need to remove their ability to vote. We don't need to be putting them into wars and stuff. They need to be producing kids. They need to be creating human beings. You know, and I don't care who I offend with that, but this is getting fucking ridiculous. You know, the problems began when women started deciding for us. You know, we have women in leadership everywhere. Pam Bondi was a great leader, okay? Listen, there's great people. But you see this? This is just agitation. Somebody came on to agitate. I take them off, okay? So I'm sorry, but there's many people that are scared to talk about this. Women need to stop being allowed to vote. They need to stop deciding for our country. I don't care who I offend with this. This is ridiculous. Look at the way where the country is going. You have people from other countries coming in and invading. This is military-aged men. These aren't women and children that need help. These are people that are coming in to replace us. We didn't need that. What we needed to do was put our fucking women in line and start making some human beings to be able to defend our older generation. Like the UK, the population is like aged way out of what's safe. And even China's kind of aging. Japan's basically aging. This guy, look at this guy. He's talking about how women shouldn't be allowed to vote is somehow rape. What are you talking about, dude? No, what I'm saying is stop letting these women vote. If they're going to do nothing, if they're not going to create human beings, they shouldn't be allowed to vote. You know, maybe mothers should be allowed to vote. That's about it. You know what I mean? If you've created a human being, then you're allowed to vote. How about that? If you're a woman, you've aided generating new human beings, then you're allowed to vote. If you haven't, no, you don't get to fucking vote anymore. I'm sorry. You know, you got to be at least helpful to this, to building our country up, you know, with humans. We don't have anybody to defend ourselves anymore. We don't have people that'll work the oil rigs. We need to either be less dependent on technology or we need to step it up. We need new human beings. I don't care who I offend with that. Women make decisions with feelings instead of truth. Well, yeah, they're emotionally driven and they can be tricked into making bad decisions based on their emotions. You know, I am a woman. I am not offended by truth. Women today are not the women that raise us. And, you know, there's many women that are in line with what I'm saying. You know, they understand what I'm saying. I've spoke to women directly and they understand that this is a serious problem. The only reason why women fight for their ability to vote, fight for their ability to lead, is because they're worried that they'll fall out of relevancy as well. And they're worried about like that emotional, oh, I have to compete with somebody. They're worried about the competition because it's emotional. And, you know, I'm not trying to offend people. I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings. But it's a serious problem right now. We have a bunch of glass sculptures in charge, and we got a bunch of weak men that are going to listen to that glass sculpture and act like that's law. Women have now shown who Eve was. Think about it. Yeah, that wasn't to offend. Yeah, you know, none of this stuff is to offend anyone. This is to get things back in line. We need to create new human beings. If you want to be a woman that creates a human being, and you understand what it means to be a family and to grow, then you should be allowed to vote. Okay? If you're a mother, if you've created a human being, there you go. You get to vote. If you haven't created a human being yet, then you don't understand a family and you don't care about the future of the country. Sorry. I think that's an easy way to just solve everything. You're going to be a productive member of society by creating a human being. You're intellectually weak and terrified of having your hillbilly world debunked. Runaway toddler. That's not really something that's going to make me block you. That's just whatever you want to say, you're going to say. What I am against is just simply spamming and making false claims. So what does a man have to do to vote? Just be a man. Just be a man. Men are actually driven. They're logically driven. Simple as that. They're actually going to do something. Maybe we could put restrictions on, like, if a dude has never had a job before or something, I guess you could say. Never had a real job before. We could put a restriction on that, I guess. If they were disabled and they're not able to get a job, you know, they were 18, you know, up, there's really not much of a restriction that you can put on a male. A male wants to create a human being. I'm sorry, but that's in their drive. They want to create a human being, okay? Men commit murders because they're emotional. What are you talking about? You see, now this is where these females that want to control people and want to agitate, they come in. They're calling men murderers. They say that that's part of our drive is to murder. That's logically not factual. What's logically factual is you have females that have given up, that don't want to promote the future of a society. And then you have females that understand the importance of promoting that society because they have common sense and they actually care. They're nurturing, they're loving. The Muslim population of the UK is 6.5%. I thought that it was more like that, but you know, you have Israel, I think it's like 15% of their population is actually Muslim. So this inbred. Okay, yeah, Abs Hackleford. I want to make sure I call that one out. All you've done is insult. You haven't actually brought any true conversation. Yeah, look at this, dude. This is insane. Goodbye. I'm trying to read through comments and I got to deal with his bullshit. So goodbye. You know, I understand if you have some kind of combative, real, true conversation, but I'm going to delete you if you're not actually bringing a conversation to the table. It's just. So let me get this straight. Women need to get pregnant to vote, but a man just needs to work. That's it. Yeah, what's wrong with having to work? That's it. Many women don't even work. They just get donations for flashing a tit. They're not really doing anything to actually get anything done. And when they get a job, they're not really helping. Yeah, that 6.5% is destroying the country. That's a good point. Of the Muslims that would be in the UK. Yeah, yep, that's true. Let's see. Women leave their kids to support me platforms. Ag, don't get me started. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Chat is buzzing for sure. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the engagement as well. Modern voting is fake, guys. But yeah, men should be taking care of their family and village, but we don't have that kind of society anymore. Yeah, that's true. Mother create man or girl, born something on earth, going to maybe make markers. What are you talking about? I have no idea. If you had a daughter, how would you feel if her only reason for living is to have kids? That's what a woman's reason for living is. That's what they all claim. They're like, I'm important because I can make human beings. Then make a fucking human. Do it. You're not important until you fucking do that. You know, I was taught to work from a very young age. I worked before I was even an adult. You know? Or even a sister. The point is, it's immoral. No, it's not. It's not, dude. The fact is that women ride this wave of, oh, I'm so important because they're able to make human beings. Then fucking do it. No, you don't want to do it? Okay, you're not going to vote. Sorry. You want to dick around on OnlyFans and suck fucking foreign dick? Like, dude, really? You know, you haven't really accomplished anything in life. You haven't promoted the future of the world. And then we got an aging population. Like, what do you think China is going to do at some point? They had the, what is it? The one child policy or something. And if they had more than one child and it was like a daughter, they would get rid of it, basically. And what are they going to do next? They're going to force their population to procreate. So you want to see something completely contradictory to everything that you thought about China, whoever's thinking that China's a great country and shit, like they're going to start forcing their women to have kids before America ever does. I'm not saying we got to force women to have kids. I'm not saying let's go rape everyone. What I'm saying is that if you're not going to have a child and make your, oh, I'm such a special person because I'm a woman, if you're not going to make your case reality, then you don't get to vote. It's easy. My grandfather and grandmother on my mom's side had 13 kids. My grandpa was one of the youngest. I had more great uncles and aunts than I had uncles put together. Yeah, and therefore those women, they get to vote because they understand what a family actually means. American women have to work like men and are very masculine. It started at least in the 40s before we were born. Women have been led away from the household into working 40 hours a week. They didn't need to continue that. They didn't need to. It was suggested upon them. Would you like to help the army? Okay, work in the country instead of going out and fighting a war. Then peace came. And we were in peaceful times for quite a long time. You only needed one person to run a household. You only needed one paycheck to be able to afford the entire household. And then we gave benefits to those who created children. They're getting tax breaks. That was all possible until about 15 years ago. Now it's been difficult ever since. So that was possible up till just like 15 years ago. It's very recent in time when we had to have two people in the household to create a wage to be able to pay for the house. That's something recent that happened. Our society fell apart. Muslims are taking over the culture of the country. It's happening here. They want sanctuary cities to become their state of that city with no input from the USA laws. One thing that I don't like about the Indian influx, the H-1Bs, is that many of them that are running these convenience stores, they'll go and sell alcohol directly to kids. They won't ask for an ID. There's all kinds of that stuff going on too. So, like I said, I don't have such a problem with people from India, but this invasion is an issue. They came here, many of them came here with good intentions to follow capitalism, to follow, our laws, but even they ended up making bad decisions. People that come from a foreign nation don't actually have respect for the people that are in this nation, and we need to get them out. It's that simple. Women today do not even scratch the surface to our grandparents. Yes, correct. Play women today are not even half of the women our grandmothers were. Yep, that's right. And that's what's destroying America. Or well, that's what started the destruction of America. You had a lot of so here's the thing, is that you had a lot of these foreigners in tech. And when they're in tech, they know how to hack. And when they know how to hack, they know how to reach our women. So that's what's happened. They've reached our women and they've tricked them into hating their own country directly. And why? Because I'm going to be nice to you, because that's all you want to hear is your sensitive feelings. We want to make your feelings good. And then therefore I'm your hero. And therefore you should let me invade your country. That's what they're doing, dude. The right to vote shouldn't depend on doing something they don't want to do, especially pregnancy. Well, if they don't want to do it, they're not helping the country survive and, create and build. Sorry, women rest on the fact that they can create human beings. And if they are not making human beings, or at least trying to, then you're not really living up to your special treatment. You're going to get special treatment because you can create a human being, then make the human being. Because that's the reason why they're getting treated special, is that that's their only fucking job. They don't have to go and work. But literally, they don't have to go and work. They go flash a fucking tit and they get $50. Like, dude, come on, man. When in Sparta, you do what Spartans do. Likewise in USAM, sorry, but truth. Well, that's the thing that I in a way disagree with, because I think that women shouldn't have to go fight wars. They shouldn't have to, work in a factory. They shouldn't have to do these things as long as we have an economy that runs in our own supply chain. We used to build stuff for the entire world. We were exporters. We're exporting fuel right now, and it's kind of a bad thing, but we became great because we were an exporter of goods. Now we're an importer of goods. So that's, everything's changed. It's not legal rape. What are you talking about? It's legal rape, dude. Like, you don't have to do it, but if you're not going to do it, then you don't get the special treatment. Sorry. It's the same thing as, if you don't want to work a hard job and actually go and earn your wage, then you ain't getting free fucking food from the government. Sorry. You don't, if you're not doing anything, you don't get anything. It's simple. They're not right to do that to a city. If they are, they come here pregnant to get USA citizenship. No, we don't need to be doing that either. We don't need to be bringing women here to get pregnant, but it might end up taking that. And if we're going to do anything like that, we should be bringing the Japanese chicks over here, because they actually, they actually care. They want to see a society run. So I think it'd be a little bit racist, but I think, Japanese are allowed to come over. They actually have some respect for our culture. We bring I think everybody in Japan everybody that's a Japanese native genealogy should be allowed to come to America. Not Chinese, Japanese. Why? Because they actually believe in freedom. They built their society in the likeness of America after we dropped bombs on them. Like, they actually have respect to be held. They respect things. But if we're gonna take women from any country, we should be taking them from Japan and getting them off of that island before a fucking tsunami hits them again. But now we are here. Lots of women have to work like men to survive here, yeah. But they wouldn't have to if they created more human beings, and all those young people they turn 18, they stay in the house, they can all be working and generating a wage to keep that house afloat. Yeah, it's happening everywhere. The invasion of Muslims, they're creating their own little societies that are only Muslim. So it's true. Yep. I'm 34. I remember when I was watching the TV around 2002, I realized how corrupt our government was, and I didn't know a thing. Then, even the youth could see it. I remember the time before cell phones. Yep. There used to be a time when we didn't have cell phones, and they used to call cameras the devil. So, I mean, like, that's how far we've come so far. In the 90s, they were still calling cameras the devil. There are women out there who are being good mothers and homemakers, but they're married and not on OnlyFans and TikTok yet. And those women should be allowed to vote because they actually care. You cannot blame the fall of a country on women. It's the people in power. No, I think I can blame a lot of this stuff on women. You know, they're the ones that voted for Biden. They're the ones who attempted to vote for Kamal. If you come to a country that's founded on Christianity and try to change it, then that's messed up. Yeah. And, you know, when you're trying to change Christianity, you're trying to change it from an inclusive country to an exclusive country that hates. Because Christianity is actually very inclusive. I'm sorry I'm smoking so many cigarettes, but I'm doing so much talking that I'm making a coffee, make it with milk instead of water. Whoa. I never thought of that. Dude, you just blew my mind. Somebody's making coffee with milk. Don't steal that idea and make a new Starbucks, man. Milk bucks. If I went to the Middle East and tried it, they would kill me. Yeah. They'd be throwing you off a roof. You want to be, homosexual or whatever? You want to follow your sexuality freedom, your sexual freedom? You want to marry as a lesbian to a woman? You get thrown off a fucking roof, man. Nope, they get treated special because they are weaker than men. It's our job to protect them. So I have a broken back, a busted back. The fact that I'm actually able to sit up right now is great. It took me hours to get out of bed this morning, okay? Are you gonna protect me? Mr. Ghulam Dagster blah fucking Istan? Like, are you gonna protect me? No. Where's my special treatment for being weaker? Right. I don't get that special treatment because I'm not a woman and I can't create humans. That's why they're getting special treatment, is because they can create humans. And if you're not going to do the job that is giving you that special treatment, then the argument is null and void. Fun facts: homicide rate is less, or out of 100,000, USA is 4, Muslim countries is 2.4, UK 1.0. I don't exactly know what that means, like what that's pertaining to, but basically USA has been invaded, and you see in a lot of these cities a lot of foreigners that are taking advantage of the fact that we give freebies to those who are in need. And I'm not saying we shouldn't give to those in need, but if you're an invader, bro, get back into the fucking fields and start working. Sorry. You can call it slavery all you want, but dude, work for your shit, man. If you're an able-bodied person and you can lift over 50 pounds, you got to be out there and work, or you got to be doing something that's useful, or speak the truth like I am. And I can't even lift 50 pounds regularly anymore because of my back. Japanese ladies have really, really high standards, by the way. Yeah. I bet I can reach those standards. Char, I came to this country the right way at 10 years old, grew up in this God's country. I came from communist country, continent. Oh yeah. Love the United States for sure. There's plenty of people even from China though that actually do love America. They're just not allowed to be outspoken about it. What about the Mexicans that have been here since Texas was brought into the Union? Dude, that's fine. They've been here. They're citizens. They're here. Okay? They've been here for that long. They've helped build the country. That's fine. Those who came here illegally, especially in the last 30 years, have completely fucked me and completely fucked this country and the future of it. There are many problems that would arise if we value women like how you're preaching. That's how we value women. What are you talking about? That's literally why they get special treatment, is because they can create human beings. The case is closed. Stop rambling on about that. The Spartan quote was intended about USA culture. Assimilate, women don't belong in the military yet. There's nothing wrong with Muslims. They were humans. We're humans like you guys. Then explain jihad, forced change. There are many things wrong with Islamic beliefs, yes. Unfortunately, I tried to coexist with Muslims, but it's insane that they don't speak up for Christians. It's insane. At this point, you should have every Muslim standing up for Christian beliefs as we allowed them into the country. At this point, you've been disrespectful to not speak up for Christians when I've spoke up for you. And I'm done speaking up for Muslims. To be fair, it starts with men. Why do men want to sit around playing video games and whining, argue on social media all day? Who taught them to do that? I don't know. Ask them. I'm all ears. Easy for you to want Japanese here, you white, and all they want to be is white. I don't know what that means, dude. Mine too. I don't know what that was in relation to, but Fulani, I agree with you. Can we go to your country? Would we be able to do there what radical Muslims do here? Just asking. I know, right? Because there's definitely, oh, you want to talk about whiteness or whatever. There's white chicks out in the Middle East that I'd be like, what's up? It doesn't matter what skin color you are. I've been attracted to black chicks before too. So, what are radical Muslims doing? Well, for one, they're selling children alcohol in K2. For two, they're not allowing you into the community if you're not a Muslim. You're not allowed to live in their community if you're not Muslim. Three, they're not saying anything against those who speak out against Christians in the United States. Otherwise, you would have a huge uprising against the nasty words that come out of the Middle East against America and the Western world. For what? A stupid YouTube comment battle where you will never admit to the faults of Islam? No, thank you. Correct. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to admit to the actual problems. You know, what's wrong with Christians? They're a little bit like falsely pious. There's like many people that are falsely pious, but those people will burn in the pits of hell. There's people that are acting like they actually are faithful, but they're not. So that's the problem with Christianity, is that there's a lot of people that are acting like they care to actually follow the book, but they don't actually follow the book. Okay. Like I was saying before, you know, somebody's yelling at me about free speech, but they're spamming into the comments saying all this nasty shit to me. Like, dude, I don't have to have you on my channel. You can go blah, 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 blah over there on a different channel. It's fine. But that's a problem. That's quite a big problem in the Christian community, is you got assholes like that running around and trying to sow division. I don't even think that was a true MAGA. Holland, please answer my question. Jesus wants to heal your back. Yes. We just spreading the message of God. What's the problem? What's the message of God? Forced change? Because if it's the message of forced change, that's not exactly how you do it. You're supposed to vote. You're supposed to be suggestive rather than forceful. But now, what are Christians going to do when we force our will upon the population? We're going to force freedom. America, fuck it. Like, we're going to enforce freedom upon people. Now you're allowed to say what you'd like to say on your own land. Now you're allowed to walk freely between states. Now you're allowed to grow what you'd like to grow on your land. That's what we're gonna force down people's throat. What are Muslims gonna do? You're not allowed to do this. You have to wear a hijab when you walk outside the building as a woman. You can't drive if you're a woman. That's the kind of shit that the Muslims are gonna do. So that's the difference between Muslims being in our country and enforcing their beliefs, and Christians being in this country and enforcing their freedom beliefs, their beliefs of freedom. That's not spreading the message of a God that I believe in. Sorry. Can't create more humans without men's semen. Yeah, that's true. Now, as a demon, sorry, not sorry. Let's see. Scroll above, reread. Yep. Preach, practice Christianity, 100%. There's no problem. Yes, there is a problem amongst a lot of Muslims. So if there's a Muslim area that's like, there's people that have gone to jail just for praying in front of abortion centers. What are you talking about? Muslims aren't a big deal. You know, people have gone to jail for saying Jesus loves you. Don't abort your baby. There are Christians in Arabia. I want to say Arabia. Nothing wrong with anyone coming here. Just come having American values and do it legally. There's a system. All you have to do is fill out the paperwork. They tell you that these NGOs, they tell you how to get in. It's not hard. They give you more information than they're giving me for getting help from the government. You can get free housing, free healthcare, free everything, dude. You can get loans for cars, loans for houses, if you just literally break into the country and you fill out paperwork. You can't even do that much. I mean, you know. But even if you did that much, I think you need to get the fuck out anyways. But demanding to allow me to live the way I live in America, yeah, and what you're just looking for your own freedom, for your own autonomy as a human being. Well, we shouldn't have women voting because what did they do? They voted for, let's save everybody that we like, and that's pretty much only a few people, and it's also the invaders, the people, you know, my husband was mean to me, so I'm gonna vote against him. Well, we got to deal with that shit. Even in marriages, we got to deal with that shit. And if we're going to give them the right to vote, let's make sure the women that those women that are hateful end up brain fucking these chicks that haven't created a child. Let's make sure they aren't allowed to vote until they've created a child, incentivizing the building of our nation. So that's the incentive in that, to make it so that women that are not making children cannot vote. There is an incentive now in that case for women to create a child and to build this nation. I have been a person that advocated for and was accepting of same-sex marriages, not adopting of a child within that marriage. So we shouldn't be letting them adopt a child, but we should be allowing them. You want to be a lesbian, you want to be a gay dude, and you want to marry, that's your own choice. But you've decided to not make a child, to not participate in being a family ordinance. And you know what? Now that I think of it, if you're gay married, you don't get to vote either, even if you're a dude. Sorry. Christians in Islamic countries gave persecution. Jihad means giving your life in battle. No, it does not. Look up the actual definition. It's forced change. It's a very simple definition. Like the word jihad means change by force. Fun facts: 0.002% of Japanese naturalizes U.S. citizens each year. They have no interest in coming here to fulfill your fantasy. That's not a fantasy. That's just, hey, I see that their culture actually had respect for Americans and actually kind of assimilated without even joining us. So if anybody is coming here as a woman to create a child with an American man, I think coming from Japan, it's good. And a lot of people are going to hate this. I think Russian chicks should also be allowed to come here too. And Saudi Arabian chicks too. They like. Because these are countries that they're just logical. It doesn't matter if, you know, they're in this country, in this region. That's just a personal belief of mine. I don't expect most people to agree with it. There are, but they aren't trying to enact some laws the country doesn't want. Yeah. Where do you get your info? I get my info from just paying attention, observation. I'm a information junkie. I've watched more videos than you will in your entire life. I've read more books than you have read and you will read in your entire life. Christian missionaries report back to churches in the West. That's actually a bit of a lie. I haven't read that many books, but when I was young, I was built upon literature. My brain, like I was what, fourth grade or third grade, and I had like ninth grade reading level. Like I've always been advanced when it came to keeping updated with literature. Christian missionaries report back to the churches in the West. We know. Bro, explain jihad. Where do you get your info? You can look it up. Go look up the definition of jihad. Do I have to do it for you? Here. I'm going to look up the definition of jihad. I'm going to just tell you exactly what it fucking says. All right. Get your info from Google. You can get it from a freaking dictionary, dude. What is the definition? So it actually prompts a AI message of jihad. Okay. Jihad is an Arabic word that literally means struggle or striving. In Islam, it refers to any earnest effort made to follow God's guidance, which includes a personal spiritual quest, building a just society, or defending the faith. The greater jihad, the internal spiritual structure to fight personal greed, evil, and temptation in order to be a good person. The lesser jihad, the external physical or military struggle, strictly undertaken in self-defense to protect the community from aggression. Now, what they have done is conflated jihad, these people that want to do harm to the West, they have conflated this belief, the lesser jihad, with, hey, the West is harming us, so now we need to take out America and Israel. That's what they've done. They've conflated that, and that's their mission, is to do physical or military struggle. It says strictly undertaken in self-defense, but they consider us to have attacked them just for speaking, just for having freedoms. They talk about peaceful actions such as charity, education, patience, endurance, and speaking truth. Well, what is their truth? Death to America? Like, that's literally what I hear. If it's anything but, the message isn't being reached. You know what I mean? I'm not hearing the other message, the education, the peacefulness, the charity. Where's my charity? I haven't received a single dime from a Muslim, So when I was digging into the Quran with the help of AI, that's the conclusion it came up with, is that jihad basically stood for invasion. That's basically what they're doing. They're conflating it. Even if it meant within Quran peacefulness and stuff, it turned into, and it's been conflated in, the thing is, it's actually being received as well as an outward force. Okay? Jihad. So whatever you're saying, you're like, let me scroll up to what you had said before. Let's see. You said something specific. We just spreading the message of God. What's the problem? No, you're not. What is the message of God? What is that message? It's America's bad and they're attacking us, so let's attack them back. That's what's happening. You can clearly see that that's what's happening. It hurts when lies are spoken about what I believe in. You said we sell kids. Yeah, that actually happens. That's part of it, and it's been a taboo practice. But what they'll do is they'll marry a child down to the age of 5 or 6, and then they'll do things with them in a room, and then an hour later they have a divorce, and now that child can't get married to another person because they've already been defiled. So that's actually a problem that's happening in the Middle Eastern countries. I heard about that about 3 years ago. Yes, they do sell kids, and it's a pretty common issue, but it seems like it's a less common issue, but it actually happens. I have no problems at all until I see a community disliking the American flag being flown. Yeah, imagine not many people know that truly actually happens. You have a priest that consummates the marriage, and then they do things in a room, and then an hour later they're out, and the child can't even get married to another person. And because the adult went and married that person, now they're not in trouble. In Mexico, if you rape anyone, if you rape any woman, and you marry them after, then it's not considered a crime. Same thing. Now that child has been defiled, and it's going to be hard to find a husband. Same thing happens in Mexico. Number of sovereign countries. I'm not going to even like read most of this stuff. Don't vote with emotions and feelings, vote with facts that make America better. So it happens in a lot of these third world countries. You have a lot of weird stuff going on. And there's a lot of Americans that are confused about it, and they haven't done any actual research. But this information's out there. You can find it. Read, search, find consistency of history, and follow God's words. It's real time today. Yes, sir. Google is woke when asking a question that it does not meet liberal constraints. Sorry, I don't understand the question. Now, here's the thing is that imagine that even when it tries to, have a left-leaning bias, it doesn't break the barrier of truth. And I can break through it easily. Invasion in their Mohammed, man, do I love you, man. Yeah. It's truth, You can't stand in America's street yelling death to America and expect no blowback. Yep, that's right. I bet Israel comes to you in your dreams. What are you doing, weirdo? Kyle, that's uncalled for. Ask him who is God. Mine is Jesus. Muhammad married a 9-year-old. Yes. Facts and truth have a left-leaning bias. Yeah, at this point, but you can still just apply common sense to it and find the actual truth. But yeah, I've done the research. I know exactly what's really going on, and I've spoke to actual Muslims. I've spoke to people in Iran. They broke through that firewall, and they've actually had a conversation with me directly. So they actually admire American force, American might. They admire us. The Iranian regime hates the fact that they admire us. That's why they shut down their internet, and they've been just attacking Israel. They're like, oh, Israel bad. Okay. When I say I've done the research, I've done the research. Yeah, they say that they try to stop this whole child marriage thing in India and all the Middle Eastern countries. So it's like officially something that they try to go after and they try to fight against, but it can't be fought against because it's an idea. They're on the dark web because they know they are wrong. Here's another thing about India, by the way. I don't want to be a hater of India, but here's the thing, the reality of it. I talked to a girl that was like, she was like 19 to 21 or something, within that range. She was young. And she explained to me how she was used as a child by Indians to do things on camera. And basically she dug into the dark web with them and she became one of them. Okay. And basically you have children over there that are used, like all the stuff that gets pulled from the dark web about Americans, like American nasty stuff like that. It ends up getting posted by Indians in, other Middle Eastern countries, I'm sure, but I know specifically from people in India, and they don't have any laws against it. So there's no laws against posting that kind of content. So they get away with it constantly. They don't even use a VPN. They're just posting it. It's like out in public airways. So all the dark web stuff, it's like the dark web is mainstream over in India. I know, right? It's my Sunday politics show. I think porn should be banned. outright. Nudity isn't porn. It's just, in my opinion, topless nudity, at least, you're not showing your genitals. That should be just par for the course. When you go to Africa, there's people jumping around and dancing with their tits hanging out. So I think it's just, you don't see a problem with that. You don't see dudes ogling over the fact that she's got her tits out. So we should be able to see the difference between sexuality and just being a human being. So that's where people start to call me liberal. I think it wouldn't be a big problem if it was just the norm. So I don't expect most people to agree with that, and I don't usually hear too much agreement with that. Nine females out of 10 say, no, I don't want to see that. Ew. And I'm like, but you ladies change in the same room together. Why does it matter if their tits are hanging out? You see that anyways. I don't know how it's such a big problem. And the reason why they have such a big problem with it is because they don't want some chick with better tits to be out there and showing them off, and they'd be like, well, mine aren't that great. Mine sag to the ground, so I can't show mine. It's all this emotional bullshit when it's just get to the point. But I think that's a good way to, in a friendly way, remove the rights of voting from people that don't want to actually contribute to society. The female's contribution to society is to make a child. If you don't want to make a child, why the hell do you want the right to vote? You don't care about the future. No offense, Porn sites should be at least restricted to XXX for better control over it. You can't stop people from sinning, but you can create oversight. Well, if you're doing stuff and you're like sending somebody a message and it just so happens to be a pornographic film or something and it's been made within that structure, that shouldn't be really illegal. That's between you and another person. But the public posting of pornography, that's a problem. Because now imagine a chick has sex with somebody and then it gets recorded and then it gets posted on the site and then it gets posted everywhere else. She was just looking for a quick paycheck and a little bit of attention. She wasn't expecting the entire world to see it. And at that point, she may not agree with absolutely everybody seeing it. She just wanted a few people to notice her. And then it's done. It should have stopped there. But people are just using it to buy, people's attention. So I think that's something that we really need to, scream loudly about. The women that created a child, even if she has a bad idea, she votes wrongly, at least there will be less of them making those bad decisions as there are males. And it'll incentivize women to make children and to grow the country. The American people don't do enough. I search to question what they hear. They truly like to hear and run repeats what they heard from others, especially if what foreigners say, yeah, that's women, The rampant pornography is a real problem here. It's putrid poison to all of us. Yeah, people from all walks of life understand how bad porn is. I haven't watched sexualized porn in probably like 3 years, and then even before, even then, it was like a couple of times, just because it was shoved in my face. But besides that, it's been like a straight 12 plus years since I've actually watched sexualized porn. And I haven't seen half the stuff I hear about. I hear people saying that there's weird stuff always posted on X. I don't use X. I have an X account, but I don't dig into the feeds. The last time I did dig into the X feeds, I saw a bunch of wartime mayhem, and I'm like, oh, see people getting hurt constantly. It's just through the feed, just devastation, harm, death and things. I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch that. And then you go on to Sora, and then there's a lot of accident videos. You see like a big concrete slab come over it. It's gonna, end a family's life. It's all generated. It's all fake. But that's the kind of content that I haven't had to see because I haven't been in those places for very long. I looked real quick and I was like, oh God. The last time that I actually went and saw sexualized porn. I think it was like when I tried to see it was about 8 years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and I went onto the dark web because I didn't know where to actually find it. I go on Pornhub and I'm like, well, that's kind of boring. It reminds me of Cinemax, like these weird, like these storyline porns, and it's just weird. I don't like that idea. We don't have to really spend time to wait and watch this. It would eat up all my data. So at that time, I had data. I had a $40 month plan. I had limited data. So, anyways, I saw a really bad video, and that's when I got off the dark web. I was like, nope, goodbye. So thankfully, I haven't had to see all that stuff, but I've heard what's been out there, and I feel bad for whoever's been, had that shoved in their face. Our world was greater when moms stayed home, nurture their families. Yeah, I saw an unresponsive body and interaction going on with it. That's when I walked away from the whole thing. It took me like maybe 5 videos in for me to be like, this is what's on here? I ain't watching that. Yeah, everybody just goes to the dark web for that. I guess so. That's literally what I saw, and I walked away from it. I saw one video like that, and I'm like, oh. And I saw 5 other videos with, just regular. It looked normal. And then I found that one video. I was like, I'm out of here. No more. I wiped my phone. Now because I admitted that, now we got this agitator in the chat. Get out of here. Agitator. Veriweave, or whatever the hell that name is. I'd ban the Korean way they ban the Bible. Yeah, right? Well, I think porn should be banned. Shouldn't happen. The Oracle, 15 minutes ago, give me a like or a comment a heart. I appreciate you. I already blocked him. He's gone. He wants to be an asshole like that. I saw where he was going with it. He's like, oh, I can't believe you admitted that. Like, dude, I saw it and I walked away from it because it was gross. Like, I admitted that I walked away from it. You can't conflate that with weirdness. Exploring gains wisdom for good choice. That's the thing, is that Jordan Peterson says it well. You have to see the darkness before you can actually see the light, before you can follow the light, because you don't know what corner to stay away from. You got to know what's in that corner before you can avoid it. I've talked about that quite a few times. Okay, True Freeman, I'm sorry, but you've been here for a while. You've been on my channel for a while. I'm going to give you 24 hours. This is one warning. Second time, you're gone. You got 24 hours to change your comments. Okay? 24 hours to bring some real conversation to the table if you'd like. You're not able to see the actual problems unless you actually explore. And I explored because I was like, I'm not watching these Cinemax films posted on Pornhub. I was like, that's kind of weird. And I was like, is there anything like more direct? And I found what was direct, and then I found something really weird, and I was like, oh, after like 5 videos in, I was like, that's weird. So what I did was I deleted, all the apps. Like, it was like there was a VPN, the onion sites, because when you go on the dark web, you use an onion site. It's .onion. And so I deleted that. I deleted everything. I went and reset my phone. Never revisited it. But I know that there's other people that have done a lot of digging, and they've seen a lot of stuff. Like, I'll give you an example. Some Ordinary Gamers, or he used to be Some Ordinary Gamers, now he's Some Ordinary Gamer. And he used to do the dark web stuff, and I was like, that seems tame compared to what I've seen. And I only went on there for about 5 minutes compared. So, yeah, I've never been an avid dark web person. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't know about, but I didn't have to see it to actually understand what's going on. Because if I saw this much looking at it for 10 minutes, then I could only imagine what else is going on in there. And I'm glad that I didn't have to see it. The thing that I don't like is violent content, like 100%. If there's violent content, it should be like only viewed for information purposes so you can prevent that tragedy. The nuns next to work, that's a job that I wouldn't want, is to be able to like come up with ways to prevent tragedies. Basically, it's like by watching those videos. That's a terrible job, man. The nuns next to work wear purple and they have a red head. The contrast is killing me. Oh, I don't know exactly what that means. Yeah, they have a Brazilian chick too. But that's why I didn't go on X. It's because I'm hearing all this stuff that's being posted on there, and I go on there and I see, death content after death content during the Ukrainian war stuff when it first started coming out. It was probably like 6 months to a year after the Ukrainian war stuff happened. That's when I went on to X because I think it was like crypto related that I went on to X, and no, it was political stuff because I was running out of commentators that are doing the heavy lifting when it comes to looking through that content. And then I decided to look through that content. I just kept finding death content. So I stayed off of X since then too. I've been on X, for the last week and a half, looking for crypto stuff again. Yeah, but dude said that normal porn site was boring, so he decided to go to the dark web. Yeah, I decided to go to something that was like, so I keep seeing grandmas basically. I'm seeing like 40-year-olds getting banged. It's the same thing as you go onto these dark web, like not dark web. When you go onto these cam sites, you see these old women with freaking, tilapia vages. Like, I'm like, okay, what is everybody else seeing? And I saw 5 barely normal videos, and I saw one really nasty video, and I was like, nope. Don't even know how to access dark web. I wanted to learn how to access the dark web because everybody was talking about the dark web. I don't know how this is controversial. Like, we all know. Apparently, you know more than me. If you think it's that easy. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's just trying to agitate, and he's this close to being removed. But I'm going to allow him to give him another chance. But yeah, you have no desire either, and that's good. You're not really missing out on very much, in my opinion. Yeah, there's no real smoking gun in what I've said. There's just, ew, it's a dark place. It's gross. You don't want to be there. Once you've seen it, you walk away from it because it's like, people really view this stuff. So I've had no desire since then to jump onto it, but that was like 7 or 8 years ago. I mean, a very long time. Like I've said, for those who have talked to me on other platforms and found my channel because I told them about it, I'm very transparent about what I've seen, what I've done, and about my life. I'm very transparent. I wish people would wake up and give a care. It would make this place a lot better. They are going to wake up, and it's going to be too late for them. Those who have woke up already, they're going to be saved. They're going to be in a better position than those who are not. Right now, I hear a woman yapping on a screen somewhere. It's so annoying, dude. At this point, it's annoying. When I hear a chick talking, like, now I've become like almost close to disliking women in every case because of, and I don't want to be that way, but at this point, I'm really close to that sort of an opinion. So, don't hate me for just tapping, don't recommend this channel if I see a woman trying to make content. There's very few women that I'll respect when they make the content, but when I see like repetitive stuff, women talking about what a male's already talked about, like, it's just, you're not going to ride coattail. I'm sorry. Seems to be nothing but scams and porn with very few non-illicit chat rooms. It's mostly garbage. Well, I went on to the main chat channels and I would see like, 50-year-old women stretched out and stuff. And like a dude would say, pull that to the side. And it was so robotic, and it seemed like the dude didn't even want it to happen. He was just doing it for content. He was doing it for, hey, we need more people to watch, as if somebody wants to watch a 50-year-old fucking diddle themselves. Like, ugh. You go back 12 years ago, that's when I was watching porn and I was watching sexualized content on the open web. It wasn't dark web. I never dove into the dark web until once, and that was a bad experience, so I never went back. Yeah, it's like scripted. It's like, and then the fake money and stuff. I saw a bit of that when I was young, when I was super young. I don't know what they have out there now. I see a lot of live stream stuff where these chicks just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and they're like, "Oh, Christina, you're so great. Hey, here's the $50 because you looked at the camera the right way. Wow, you're so beautiful. You did your hair right." Like, that's what they're getting paid for, dude. They're not even doing a job. That's what they're paying their house off with. It's so lame. And that's who's voting. I don't think they should be voting if they're not actually being a productive member of society. If their job is to stare into a camera and go blah blah blah, like that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to basically be the front runner of awareness. That's it. I'd like to front run this, considering that my message hasn't really been spread enough to enough people. I don't see enough of a change. I feel like I have to do this to fix the world. Believe me, I wanted to coexist with Muslims, but the Muslims aren't speaking out for Christians at all. I wanted to be like, hey, we can coexist. We have a little bit of a difference in our traditions, but it's not happening. There's no sympathy for Christians. There's no meeting in the middle. Christians have been silenced. Their free speech has been revoked. I don't think there's bots in this chat as much. I think there's what it is you have these groups on Discord, and they've been trying to bring in Discord. They've been trying to bring me over to Discord, and I give them my Discord, and now they don't want to add me. My Discord is at Godfinger, so if you guys want to add me, now I got Discord. But these people talk in these like secret chat rooms with each other, and they're like basically just the opposite of hype. Like, I don't know, type of content. They do clips. They take people's identities, apparently, considering that they grabbed my identity on Cash App. Like, my Cash App is Cloud Ninja X, but I can't get Godfinger. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, I can't get that name because somebody else grabbed it already. Why would that name have been taken? Why would that name have also been taken on PayPal? That's strange. So there's people that are posing as me. It's a whole dark interface. Online social interactions without any live interactions are mostly fake. Now, the whole live stream community, you can't actually have a conversation with somebody, with a chick at least, without paying them first. It's insane. So the chance of you actually finding somebody real that's a female is almost zero. I got lucky. At real Godfinger everything? What's that mean? I don't have at real Godfinger, no. Like, I could do that. I should probably do something like that, but then I'd have to change everything. I could probably do that, huh? Let's see if I can add. I think you can add an account, right? Yeah, I appreciate you, John. Big deal. Here. I'll see if I can add an account. Add an account. New personal. But it still wouldn't matter. I already have, like, if I were to do something like that, I'll do it all at once. I'll end up going and putting that all into my description. I already have a lot of links in my description, and I'll be adding that to it. Generally, people aren't bots. Generally, these comments are not done by bots. These are done by actual people, but they act like robots, so you might as well call them robots. The only reason they'd care is if you had power to wreck them. Bigly. Bigly. Dude, Trump is the man, dude. Like, I can't believe the movements that he's made. He's a military uh, genius. He's a saint, as far as I'm concerned. You know, a saint doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but everything that he's done is just in line with fairness. He's a fair person. He's given everybody a chance. He's even, dude, if he wanted to remove all of the immigrants, he could have already. They're right out there and they ain't scared. He's gone after the worst of the worst. Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, they've gone after the worst of the worst, the people who have committed the most crimes. They came into the country, you know, that's against the law to begin with. Then they committed a crime on top of that. That's who they're going after. So they've been fair, dude. They've been way more fair than I would be. Dude, Trump should be president again in 2028. His 2016 run was totally suppressed. He wasn't able to get anything done because they kept putting him into court and all this fake news bullshit, Russian collusion, hoax, all that stuff. But I also wouldn't want to put him. I wouldn't want to put him under that pressure. You can say whatever you want about Trump. You can't take away his love for our country, his fighting for this country. Wake up, America. They don't put him in court with the same shit they did. Yeah, right. Right. They can't attack him on anything legitimately. Lane Staley, I don't know who that is. It's no big surprise that the guy who has to go to the dark web, get off, hates women. Okay, goodbye. Give you a chance, dude. I supported Trump, then he kissed the wall. I don't know what that means. If you're talking about something religious or whatever, if he's paying respects to different religions in being inclusive, I don't see how that has anything to do with anything. He kissed the wall. Wow, lashings. You shall get 50 lashings for kissing a wall. Who fucking cares, dude? What are you talking about, man? I'm not going to read the Talmud. I'm not going to waste my time with that. It's completely irrelevant. Actions speak louder than words. I wouldn't call kissing a wall much of an action. Yeah, who cares, man? Who cares if he visited a wall? All he was doing was paying respects to a religion, you know? I don't really give a fuck. He was completely irrelevant. You know, if anything, he was being inclusive. He's being decent. That's what I'm saying. You know, he's being fair. He's not a one side or the other side. He's looking at the world needs to coexist. He's more of a coexistence person. You want to talk about Epstein? He kicked Epstein out of his hotel. He told the FBI what was going on. Your point is mute. Did I play sports in high school? No, I took a trade school though, so I fit pipe as a sport, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I don't really care about. Okay, dude, you got one more, Maka. One more. We don't need this kind of just agitation. It's an agitator. You know. I don't love or hate him. I just don't agree that he is as evil as the left claims he is. The left isn't even left. They're just evil at this point. They're just evil. They're just trying to sow division. They're part of that dark web class that's trying to control people's actions, and just by spreading lies. You got an entire memorial for the Jeffrey Epstein files. You have a place where you can go visit them in real life. Donald J. Trump signed off on it. Every president has kissed that wall. It's a political and cultural respect thing. That's what I thought. And when I heard that, that's what I thought. It's just respect. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, put you in timeout. We'll have a conversation later if you'd like to actually have a normal conversation, not an Israel hate thing. It's just like, it's pointless. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my audience's time. It's just respect. That's what I thought it was when I heard that, because I haven't even seen that and I don't really care about it. So if every president has done that, it's just a respect thing. You go to somebody else's tabernacle of the congregation and you pay respects. That's just normal. It wouldn't even matter if it was traditional. If he was the first person to have done that, he would have just been making a statement of respect and inclusion, as Christians do. And I don't even think he even a Christian. From what I heard, Trump isn't even potentially a Christian. Wouldn't matter to me. He's being very fair to Christians, and he understands that Christians have been suppressed, been attacked. It's supposed to be an honor. Yeah. Well, I mean, you got Big Mike. It's kind of hard not to bend the knee for that, right? She might use overwhelming force. Just make America better, please. He can't. That's the problem. Is that what he's doing? He's laying out. He's ripping down the walls of regulation so that we can build. Trump can't do it all. This right here is how we're building. We're building awareness. The next step is to build a supply chain. And that's where I'm trying to move into. Take a piece of leather, turn it into this, and you got step one. If everybody can do that, doesn't matter who you are, we don't need to buy bags from China. We don't need to pay them $20, or in this case, this would probably cost $5 or $10 online. Something stupid like this. We should be able to make it ourselves. They have control over us in their great nation because they're selling stuff to us. They can't even build bridges that don't collapse, The left is just jealous because Trump has accomplished more in his first term and even more during his second term than the past 6 presidential administrations. Yep. It will take multiple presidents with the same mission, yes. Trump was raised Presbyterian and still identifies as Christian. Good. Hopefully we will get them in office. That's the problem, is I don't think we will, and I think AI will be in charge of us in 2029. So that's the elephant in the room, is that mass surveillance kind of has the future in its hands. And by speaking like we do, we're formulating the AI to end up making certain decisions based on certain things. So us speaking and us having these conversations helps improve the AI. That's what I'm banking on. I'm kind of excited. It feels like sneaking out of your grandma's house. I'm not happy with Trump right now. He's gone a bit extreme, and I understand why, considering the Democrats do so much nasty stuff to him in his first term. Well, it's hard for him to actually fix everything, and I don't think the nasty stuff, I think going into Iran and taking charge, I think that's just how it was meant to be. He had to do it. We can do what we want, long as the nursing home is in charge and keep it on the law. I don't know what that means. Trump has stopped so much bullshit, but we must win state elections to maintain his mission and get in red 2028. It's really hard for us to just fix it all overnight, but if we are in Maka just made a new account as if I had banned him. And no, I didn't ban you. I put you in timeout for 5 minutes. If you're going to come here on a second account, I'm going to ban the second account. Goodbye. You can go back to your other account and comment from there once the ban is lifted. I only silenced you for 5 minutes. It's just annoying what he's doing. But we need to build the supply chain. We need to make stuff on our own. And that's what I intend to do. The other thing that I said that I can't talk about, that I'm preparing for survival, has nothing to do with a supply chain 100%. It has very little to do, but it doesn't have everything to do with it. Yeah. Yeah, I only gave him a timeout, and he jumps onto another account. Like he can't just wait 5 minutes and rethink what he's doing. Now I've given him a reason to rethink what he's doing. It's not even just Iran. Trump saying some stuff, some off the wall stuff, and coming off as a bit dictatory this time around. In my opinion, I'm not Democrat or Republican. That's the thing, is that you have to look at the actual history, and if you weren't around for that history, you're not going to get access to that information. I've been paying attention this whole time. That's why I'm able to see the truth. I understand it's hard to actually see his motives, but his motives have always been fairness. Yeah, they're hell bent on disrupting the class. Yep. And that's what we dealt with in high school. That's what we dealt with in middle school. It's what we've been dealing with as we grew up, and at least my generation as millennials. I don't know about the next generations, but I always dealt with somebody disrupting the class, and I'm trying to pay attention to the teacher. So annoying. The teacher never silences them, and it's like, you know, they silence me though when I call out that person that's being disruptive. That's the strange part. That's when I know who's my enemy. Somebody that's trying to silence me because I'm just pointing out the disruptive person in the class. So I'm gonna end the stream soon because I'm gonna get mentally prepared for work. I might jump on the live while I'm at work doing my job, going running around getting some money. Yes, we need our own supply chain, including our own programming language. Sounds extreme, but we need something better than C and ADA. But I'm just nerding out right now. There's nothing wrong with that. I wish Iran would do right. I pray they will stop tearing up the neighborhood. They won't. They feel like they're totally just protected by their jihadist fucking regime, dude. They're nasty people. Oh, I've been watching. I'm 34, and my personal take is the Democrats changed Trump to be more harsh and extreme because of all the shady stuff they did to him. Yeah, well, yeah. And but the thing is that's just simply the way it is. Trump can't beat that. That's what I'm saying, is that we need to take charge. He can't do everything alone. And I think by being aware, we'll be able to find ways to overcome it. I think we start step one by learning how to craft things on our own. And I hope I can be an inspiration. That's what I'd like to be, is an inspiration for people to start doing this stuff on their own. They are projecting, but that's just how the dark does it. They project because they can't shine light on themselves, their darkness. I think it's a good way to conclude the video there. That's the reality of it. They're dark because they're stuck in the shadows. They have to shine, some kind of false light, Luciferianism, to those who are actually doing good and are already out in the light. And because they're dark, they're not seen as they crawl around through these shadows and look at everything. I think they have realized how many supporters they have lost over the BS. And they try to project, they try to act like MAGA's dead or something, and it's like, you're not tricking me, man. And even if MAGA would be dead, I'd still be supporting it. They can't defeat truth. Truth and love. And I love you guys. I appreciate you guys joining. I appreciate all the massive amounts of likes, the massive amount of views. I got a lot of views on this video. I'm seeing, the ticker. I see people coming in, people leaving, and I appreciate everybody here. I hope that I haven't offended anyone, but if I did, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I just we all need to come together and fix it. And that's how we fix it. We just come together. We don't give a shit about what our political values are, because politics usually don't matter when it comes to making trade. That's what made America great. True capitalism. We need to take charge of this supply chain, take back truth. I'll read one last comment. We got YouTube, bro, be safe. You got a new subscriber. God bless him late. I appreciate you as well. Let's read Conqueror. The Iranian government ain't even Iranian. Yes, that's right. They are Arabics who overtook the original Persian. I want to get into that, but I will get into the fact that it's like Zoroastrian. That's apparently their original religion, and the regime fucked it all up for them. So they would like to speak out, but they get shot in the streets. And Trump came in to fucking save them, and still hasn't saved them yet. But we might be able to fix that later, guys. Have a great day, and God bless.